They say some destinies are forged not in royal chambers, but in storms. When Nikola Tesla was born, lightning struck so violently that the midwife screamed, calling it an omen, a curse, a promise wrapped in thunder. No one imagined that this fragile child from a remote Balkan village would one day ignite the world with ideas beyond its imagination, or that his brilliance would cost him everything. Before him, the world glowed faintly under dim candles. After him, it would pulse with electricity, with dreams, with the fire of a mind too powerful to be contained. His name was Nikola, son of a stern priest and a mother whose hands could weave miracles from memory alone. To the village, he was odd, a boy who calculated in silence, who heard machines in rivers, who dreamed of invisible forces dancing in the air. While other children chased goats, Nikola chased light. He did not choose genius. Genius chose him. 19th century Europe was an age of discovery, steam, iron, revolution. But the Balkans remained old, rural, slow. Into this world, Tesla was born. A dreamer trapped among traditions, a mind far too large for a village too small. His father wanted him to join the priesthood. His mother saw something else: brilliance, fire, hunger. When Nikola nearly died from illness, he begged for one chance to pursue engineering. His father finally agreed. Thus began a journey that would reshape human civilization. School could not contain him. Professors whispered, stunned by a boy who solved equations before they finished writing them. He memorized entire books, invented devices in his sleep, and saw visions of rotating magnetic fields long before he understood their meaning. Knowledge was not learned, it erupted from him. But genius is a lonely kingdom. He was mocked for his obsessions, avoided for his intensity, feared for his visions. While others dreamed of careers, he dreamed of illuminating the entire planet. He did not seek acceptance, he sought understanding. At university, his brilliance exploded. He mastered physics, mathematics, mechanics. Everything came effortlessly. But when a professor mocked his idea for an alternating current motor, Tesla left the institution in fury. He would not let small minds define his destiny. Thus began his lifelong journey, across Europe, through poverty, factories, sleepless nights. He worked to survive, but he lived for invention. Visions haunted him, spirals of energy, invisible fields, worlds connected by pulses of light. The future whispered to him, and he listened. America called to him like a beacon. He arrived in New York with 4 cents in his pocket, a head full of inventions, and a letter praising him as a genius beyond measure. But the city was unforgiving, loud, hungry, ruthless. To survive, Tesla dug ditches. To live, he dreamed of electricity that would liberate the world. Then came Edison, the wizard of Menlo Park. Tesla admired him, worked for him, believed in him. But Edison paid him little, mocked his visions, and dismissed alternating current as dangerous nonsense. Their partnership became rivalry. Their rivalry became war.
The war of currents raged through America. Edison electrocuted animals in public to prove AC unsafe. Tesla shocked crowds by letting thousands of volts pass harmlessly through his body. Science became spectacle. Brilliance became battle. Yet Tesla refused to hate. He only created. He lit the world's fare, electrified cities, and built motors that transformed industry. His alternating current conquered the world. Elegant, efficient, unstoppable. For a moment, Tesla stood taller than Edison. But victory carries its own storms. Tesla dreamed beyond profit, beyond patents, beyond the limits of his age. He envisioned wireless power, global communication, limitless energy. Investors wanted money. Tesla wanted a new world. Then came J.P. Morgan,
titan of industry. He funded Tesla's most ambitious dream, the Wardenclyffe Tower, a colossal transmitter meant to wirelessly power the Earth. But when Morgan learned the truth, that Tesla planned to make energy free, he withdrew support. Greed crushed genius. Without funding, the tower rusted, debts surged, banks closed their doors, and the world turned away from the man who once electrified it. Yet Tesla never stopped imagining, even as his empire of dreams crumbled. He lived now in shadows, hotel rooms, notebooks filled with inventions no one would build, pigeons landing on his windowsill. His mind burned brighter than ever, but the world no longer cared for brilliance without profit. Tesla did not bend. He simply faded. Rumors spread. They called him mad, unstable, unhinged. But his madness was simply vision too vast for small minds. Machines powered by Earth's resonance, death rays, wireless world grids. He walked the thin line between genius and myth, and the world chose to laugh. Yet even in decline, he created wonders. Turbines without blades, oscillators that shook buildings, wireless lamps glowing like captured stars. But he stopped patenting them. He no longer wished to feed the machine of industry. He wanted to free humanity. Humanity wasn't ready. Governments whispered about him. Spies followed him. Some feared he could split the earth with vibrations or build a weapon to end all wars. The FBI opened files thicker than books. Genius attracts light and shadows. He walked through New York in a simple suit, feeding pigeons, muttering equations, planning machines that would never exist. Skyscrapers rose, monuments of the age he helped create. Yet he lived in a room too small for his imagination. He had given the world power. The world gave him silence. His body grew thin. His hands trembled. But his mind, still lightning. At night, he paced hotel corridors like a ghost, whispering to himself, calculating, designing, dreaming. Time could wither his body, but never his fire. Reporters mocked him, investors ignored him, but Tesla remained dignified, never begging, never bending. He believed that the future would understand him, even if the present refused to. And in that belief, he found peace. Then came the final winter. Weakened, alone, he refused medical care. He had lived for ideas, not for comfort. He whispered to pigeons, his only companions, believing one of them carried a divine light. Perhaps she did. Perhaps only he could see it. On January 7, 1943, Nikola Tesla died in his hotel room, alone, unnoticed, unpaid. The maid found him days later. No family, no ceremony. Just a suitcase of notes that governments would fight over for decades. The world had lost its greatest mind, quietly. When Tesla died, New York barely noticed. But in the days that followed, something strange happened. Scientists whispered his name, engineers opened their old notebooks, and newspapers remembered the man who lit the world. A forgotten genius began to rise, not in life, but in memory. His belongings were seized, locked away, buried in classified archives. Some said his papers held blueprints for weapons. Others said they revealed technologies decades ahead of their time. The truth remained hidden, like the man himself. But time is the great revealer. Researchers rediscovered his patents, students studied his diagrams, and slowly, the world began to ask, who was Nikola Tesla, truly? A genius? A prophet? Or the father of modern electricity? His inventions resurfaced: radio, AC power, remote control, robotics, wireless energy. Many once mocked ideas became foundations of modern technology. He was no longer the mad scientist of headlines. He was the mind behind the future. His dreams inspired writers, filmmakers, inventors. His failures taught entrepreneurs that vision often comes before acceptance. His courage lit a fire in those who dare to challenge the impossible. Tesla became a symbol of brilliance, sacrifice, and the cost of dreaming too big. Museums honored him, cities celebrated him, and scientists rebuilt his experiments to understand the mind once dismissed as eccentric. Tesla returned, not as a forgotten inventor, but as a pillar of human progress. He had no wife, no children, no empire. But the world itself became his family, powered by his systems, guided by his principles, illuminated by his brilliance. His legacy lived in every home touched by electricity. To futurists, he became a saint. To scientists, a pioneer. To dreamers, a North Star. And to those who burn with ideas too bold for their time, the patron of impossible visions. His ashes were placed in a golden sphere, the shape he believed held the secrets of the universe. A man who spent his life in poverty was finally given the dignity he deserved. A genius returned to the world not as a curiosity, but as a titan whose brilliance had outlived the age that ignored him. His story endures, not because he conquered rivalries or won fortunes, but because he revealed what human potential could be when freed from greed. He lived in the future while the world clung to the past. And though he walked through life alone, he walked with vision that illuminated generations. From his failures came warnings, from his victories, revolutions, from his solitude, inspiration. He showed that genius is not a gift, it is a burden carried by those who see farther than others dare to look. He never married, never built a home, never sought wealth. But history loved the myths more than the man, the eccentric, the hermit, the wizard. And only now the truth emerges. He wasn't strange. He was ahead. His brilliance was dismissed, his work underfunded, his ideas mocked. But myths fade, and innovation remains. Today, his name stands not for madness, but for mastery. Today, he lives in more than textbooks, in every power grid, every radio, every robot, drone, turbine, wireless signal. He lives in culture, films, music, stories, reborn as the hero he always was. The world that ignored him now celebrates him. The industries that doubted him now run on his principles. History bows, finally understanding its mistake. Tesla, the man once forgotten, is now immortal. Decades have passed, and still, the whispers remain. The man of lightning, the prophet of power, the visionary who lived a century too early. His ideas walk beside us, silent but omnipresent, like electricity itself. He was blamed for failures he never made, ignored for truths he proved, ridiculed for dreams that became our reality. His tragedy was not poverty. It was being born into a world too small for his mind. Was he a madman, a messiah, a scientist, or simply a man who saw the universe as music made of energy and light? Perhaps all four, perhaps something more. His story is not about fame or rivalry. It is about vision, courage, isolation, and the cost of dreaming beyond the horizon. He showed the world what happens when imagination becomes electricity. Tesla did not change the world alone. The world changed because of him. His coils powered modernity. His dreams seeded industries. Through his suffering, technology advanced. Through his isolation, humanity progressed. He died forgotten, stripped of wealth, applauded by no one. But in his final walk through life, he carried something no patent, no fortune, no empire could offer: an unbroken mind, a boundless imagination, and a spirit charged with the same fire as the lightning that birthed him. Centuries later, he rises not in laboratories or textbooks, but in every spark that lights the night. He fell as a man, He endures as a symbol. And his story, woven not in silk but in thunder, still echoes across time.